goes on to play Cloud9 in the final match tomorrow.
It's going to be a good one. TSM, the opportunity to put Echo Fox to game point there.
I mean, after game number one, you said it at the end, it was a dominant performance. This didn't look like a game that at any point was in Echo Fox's control. It did look close for a good bit of the game, but that closeness never favored Echo Fox.
Exactly. It was, it was close, as you said, for quite a while, but the neutral objectives had been going TSM's way, and I think they were playing a better, more coordinated game around the map. One of the things that was really telling to me was the fact that despite Echo Fox having a winning 2v2, that they had pressure there, it was TSM that got first tower. It was TSM that got all of the early dragons and the Rift Herald, and that's not something you really want to see happening when you have that winning bottom lane.
At the same time, I do want to go back to the compliments I paid to Echo Fox last game early on, because I still stand by those despite my overall critical approach to them throughout the game, is that I thought they did a very good job responding to TSM's early objective takes. TSM rotated their bottom lane top before the first turret even fell to take the first turret, and Echo Fox was able to push all the way up bottom side, almost to take the second tier turret, and I just thought the team did a very good job at not letting TSM steamroll them in objectives.
Yeah, they definitely did, and I think that they had a lot of opportunities, a lot of kind of like almosts in this game where, Huni was going forward looking for a play, the team was not on the same page, and whether it was a bad play for him or the follow-up wasn't there, it doesn't really matter. You need to be on the same page, so hopefully for Echo Fox, they have refocused, they have reset their kind of mentality here, and are going to be looking to play a more clean, more coordinated style of game.
Well, this time around, we're going to see TSM with the Varus. Last time it was lost using that one. Sven's going to be on it this time around as Echo Fox pick up Braum and Kai'Sa for their bottom lane.
Yeah, very interesting stuff here. TSM, the Tomcatch so popular here for Mithy, would not be surprised to see that get locked in. But I do think the Varus certainly will have lane priority over that Kai'Sa, especially in the early stages. And if they wanted to kind of make that even more uneven, they could have gone for a ranged support, but that is going to be the Tahm Kench, and they are looking back for the Aatrox. Probably going to be Haunter again in the top side. He had a good game on it.
He did a very good job on it. He was constantly pressuring Huni, and he got so much value out of the ultimates. Time after time, it was a trade. Echo Fox player dies, Haunter goes down on one knee for a second, comes back up.
Yeah, it really was, and despite the fact that, Huni had a little bit of pressure on him early in the laning phase, but as Haunter got his items, he had side lane pressure, he had great team fight effectiveness. As you said, the ultimates were extremely well timed. Gonna be really interested to see if Echo Fox tries to go back at him with a counter pick, with something that is more of a lane dominant play here for Huni, because that really has been where he has succeeded throughout his career for the most part. He's good on tanks too, but definitely don't want to just see that lane conceded when it's supposed to be one of Echo Fox's strengths.
And talking about strengths, we talked about Bjergsen's Syndra and the impressive numbers he has on that champion over his career last game. This time around, it's going to be Damonte on the Syndra. They're saying, all right, you take our AD carry pick, we're going to take your mid laner pick, and Damonte does play plenty of this champion himself, but now Bjergsen just showed off with it in game number one. He's going to have to make sure he impresses with it here on game number two.
Yeah, he really is. It is Damonte's most played, though. He's actually 5-1, I do believe, on this pick. So looking
these mids
very good. Yeah, he's been doing really, really well on the pick. 6 plays throughout that split.
And I like the fact that Echo Fox's 2 bans, after locking that in for him, are trying to help cover and make sure he doesn't have a bad time. You stop the Zillion res from preventing people from being bursted by him. You also stop the Irelia matchup from just going crazy.
We could see potentially a LeBlanc. Most mid laners that I've talked to call that a skill-based matchup, one that can go either way. We already see that Aurelia's gone, Zillion's gone, Akali's gone, the Syndra's taken away. He could just play Ryze as well, the other side of the matchup that Damonte played last time, depending on where Bjergsen wants to go, but LeBlanc is up, is available if TSM wanted to grab it for Bjerg and really put him in the ability to kind of take over a game, right? Because if you do get ahead on that LeBlanc, you can start moving around the map and really looking to dominate.
And I like the fact that TSM banned out the Ornn this time around, because although it didn't work great for Echo Fox in game number one, I think it came down to what you were talking about, where, okay, if everybody is on the same page, maybe those engages are just insane.
Yep.
Maybe that is an amazing team fight. And they're saying the pick wasn't the problem. The execution was get rid of that pick. We don't want to face it again.
Yep, definitely the case, and it's going to be Huni once again here on a tank. They're saving Dardoch's jungle pick for last. The Cho'Gath is the choice here to match up against Aatrox. Gragas going to be the mid laner here for Grig, and TF would be very exciting. We have not gotten to see that in a long time. Not sure if we actually will get it, because from what I have seen, it's a very tough matchup into Syndra.
Yeah. That's what I have heard the general consensus to be as
Okay.
well. Now this seems more like one of those skill matchups you were talking about to me. Long-range control mage, plenty of burst potential on both sides, some CC on both sides, and he locks it in. Bjergsen on the Vel'Koz in game number 2.
And he did bring this out actually against 100 Thieves. He won on the Vel'Koz in that series against a Rise, so have seen some success on the pick before. And as you said, you know, I think it is a fairly skill-based matchup. It's one of those matchups that can be very irritating, I think, to play from the Syndra side. And really from most champion side, playing against Vel'Koz is very frustrating because of the long range. It feels like you're just playing this mini game where you have to dodge everything. The ultimate does a tremendous amount of damage if you ever get hit by even one spell into an ultimate can mean death.
Yeah, triangle math, dodge everything, mini game. Like I got out of high school 10 years ago, man. Don't let me do this again.
Get out your compass, baby. It's Vel'Koz. But either way, Syndra coming back in. While you do have to dodge all this stuff, at the same time, Vel'Koz is generally very squishy. If you are able to actually land a Scatter of the Week, have someone come in, Vel'Koz can get erased. And that is why I would not be surprised to see Bjergsen going for a more tanky style of build. I have seen some Vel'Kozes across the world, you know, even going for things like instead of going for Luden's Echo right off the bat, going for Rod of Ages, or going for Rod of Ages into a Null Magic Mantle and getting more tanky so they can't just get one comboed if they get caught.
You know what the next step is? Doing what Froggen did with Anivia and just start building Warmogs and Randuins and multiple random just
That's
like...
the tank Vigard, you gotta bring it back.
Just build random stuff that happens to work for the game. That's what I want to see from TSM, is adapting to the game and making sure that they continue their pace from game number 1 to look strong here. And for Echo Fox, I want to see those changes I was talking about at the end of game 1. I want to see the coordination. I want to see the team that has just absolutely crushed people throughout this year because of the way they fight together.
We'll see if they can kind of reach those high highs, that coordination level that you're talking about.
You don't have a choice at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
like we said at the beginning of this, Gauntlet is all or nothing. It's do or do not. There is no, well, we tried. There is no, we've got another chance.
Well, there is. Clutch already has that.
Well, okay, we'll get you a real nice participation trophy if you don't make it past each and every round in the Gauntlet, but that is all you're gonna get. You're fighting for one spot left at Worlds.
And it's so tough because then you're kind of stuck regretting all those decisions and reliving all those moments for the next bunch of months, right? You know, if you don't make it to Worlds, you have a long break, and maybe
There's only so many turtles that need to make it to the water, Azael.
There's only so many turtles.
We'll see how Echo Fox can adapt here in game number 2. Lost on this Kai'Sa. Looking at the composition on the side of Echo Fox, you got 3 big meatballs and 2 cannons to stand behind them and supply the damage. Yeah. Lost, they've talked about how this guy is one of the weapons that they can use. That's one of the guys that they can trust to carry, to do work here against TSM. And on a pick like Kai'Sa, I mean, look across the world. I'm going to bring up, of course, the guy that I always think of when I see Kai'Sa. I'm going to bring up Uzi, recently watching the LPL finals, and just sort of a showcase on what that champion can do to 1v9 hard carry.
Yeah.
When you pick this champ, it's in your hands.
It really is. If you can get to the late game with that level of protection, and you have to give credit to the rest of the team. You know, speaking about Uzi, they create so much space for him in the fights. They give him so much farm. They buy him all the time, and then he rewards them with these incredible carry performances. And we're going to see, you know, if Echo Fox can do the same thing for Lost, can they get him to that stage where you're on 3-4 items, you have these 3 meatballs in front of you, and it's your time to shine, right? It's your time to take over that team fight.
I will amend my statement. When you pick this champ and your team is all about it, it's in your hands. You got to make sure you got everybody behind you, but Echo Fox will just continue farming up here in the bottom side right now. Remember, last time we saw the junglers not really get involved too early. We did see sort of just a pass-through early on in the game from Dardoch on the Xin Zhao trying to make a play towards mid-side. We saw a fight over Krugs, but we'll see how that plays out this time as both are still going through those first clears and going to the opposite sides.
And a lot of that was because of excellent vision from TSM. You know, they were the ones that were kind of on the defensive in the early game because they had to watch out for this Xin Zhao, and they were really able to do that very, very well, to their credit. You know, another interesting thing to talk about here is Greg is up a level, so I feel like Dardoch probably just needs to leave. Not likely going to be able to outsmite that early on. 50 damage is actually quite a big deal. But either way, you know, having a Vel'Koz against 1 or 2 carry comps, especially when it is, you know, super late game and it's kind of all about the Kai'Sa, if the Vel'Koz can have space, you just actually pop your ultimate and point it straight at the Kai'Sa, and you say, no, you have to run away, right? And even just doing that, the amount of space that can buy, the amount of time that can get you, could allow for Sven and the rest of the team to focus down some of the frontliners. So how they play out these team fights, especially in the later stages, is going to be super, super interesting, I think.
Top side, you can see Haunter just not really afraid of Huni whatsoever up here in the top side, playing his Aatrox. Of course, he is behind in terms of the tempo of the minions pushing towards him. With so many extra minions there, you don't want to go in too hard, but he's already ahead in CS. He'll get even further ahead once he farms these up. He's having a good time here.
Yeah, he really is. It's actually a lot of extra farm for him to pick up there, so definitely doing a good job in the lane so far, being able to pressure Huni as you would expect, and Huni has to be careful about any potential early Gragas gank. Sejuani's on the bottom side of the map, and this is one of those situations that you really hate as a top laner. Your wave is kind of slowly pushing away from you. You're just having to watch some minions die because it's like, okay, well, Gragas could be here and Sejuani is not, right? So you have to really play under the impression that they are there, just in case they could be.
The possibility of something always has to be assumed as a yes, or else you're going to end up chain feeding if you don't be careful about where wards are, where people are located. Those are the kind of weaknesses you can't afford to have. Not in a game like this. Not for one that matters as much as this one does. Haunter farms up there nicely, making sure he collects all those minions. And bottom side, Sven and Mithy not forced to be posted up under the turret for so long this time around. The power of that Varus in lane, they had to deal with it last time around. This time around, they're making sure the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah, they're making it look really good. You know, pressuring in Smoothie and Lost is going to give them some more access to any potential early dragons if they wanted to look for it, but you can see that Smoothie is well aware of that potential, so he actually, you know, roams over to that dragon to get down an early ward just in case TSM was trying to sneak anything, and I think that is quite an intelligent play. You know, this time around, I would say on the side of Dardoch, you're actually probably the happier one if you can get to 6 on even terms. Not that Gragas doesn't have strong team fighting and kind of potential later on, but I would say Gragas has a much more powerful early gank, especially when you're looking at Predator as well, because the body slam flash from level 3 onwards is terrifying.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can kind of equalize this time around on the side of Dardoch, then you're going to be feeling pretty good. But that being said, I mean, Greg is up quite a few camps already.
40 to 23 is a substantial lead in terms of that
really
farm
big
in the jungle. Over the wall, Grig goes, throws down the control ward to make sure he clears out some of this bottom side river vision. And what I'm looking at this game is 2 junglers with big playmaking ultis and 2 mid laners with huge just health bar destroyers on their R keys. The playmaking potential once all these ultis come online, which they already have for the mid laners, will be massive.
Yeah, it really will. And Dardoch trying to get down here. They don't want to give up all these early neutral objectives. So certainly a bit of an adjustment from Echo Fox in the first game. You can see Smoothie moving Dardoch over here. Find out. They're going to actually go for the fight.
Right, Grig's in some trouble. Flashes over the wall, but Echo Fox is in there. And first blood goes to Smoothie.
Greg just kind of wandered in by himself there. It's not as though his bot lane was roaming up. It's not as if Bjergsen was coming. And Bjergsen just going to drop the ultimate, and look how much damage that is. That was with no setup. He does about 60% of the HP there onto Damonte, because if you get enough ticks, you can actually proc the passive straight from the Disintegration Ray. So just using it kind of as a laning ultimate to push his opponent back. But either way, sloppy stuff from Greg. Now down on the bot side.
Bottom side, Echo Fox might be able to get even more out of this, but Mithy is quick to devour his teammate and make sure he stays safe. Good looking out there. That's exactly why you draft the Tahm Kench, especially with something like a Varus that does not have those escape mechanisms of his own. So TSM will keep themselves in a decent enough spot for now. And let's take another look, though, at how this happened to Grig.
So look at the minimap, right? Okay, I can understand Grig walking up like this if his team is coming. Mithy is basing, Bjergsen is pushed in. So why are you actually stepping forward there, right? You know, 3 members are able to collapse from Echo Fox, and Grig kind of throws away some of the great work that he had done in those early levels, and he's still quite a bit up in farm. He's level 6, but if he had not gone down there, he would have been even more ahead. So TSM now actually going to try to make a play on the red buff. Mithy using that spellbook teleport to come right up. and they're going to bring Haunter down as well. This is honestly really nice early game counter jungling here from TSM, and a lot of team effort put into this means that Dardoch is being kept down despite the fact that Grig made a mistake.
And talking about everybody being kept, or talking about Dardoch being kept down, everybody's being kept down on the side of Echo Fox. This is the team that got first blood with assist money, and they're down 600 because their top laner's down 15 CS, their jungler's down 25 CS, their mid laner's down 10, their AD carry's down 5. Across the board, TSM are just performing better in the lanes.
And if we can swap over to actually see some of these gold differences, we'll see how big it's going to be. And a lot of that really is just in the jungle. 500 gold alone there just in that jungle matchup is really, really big. And as you said, that's like first blood already, right? Just kind of eliminated because of that farm difference. And I think it's a smart early plan here from TSM that has been paying dividends. But again, Echo Fox does have level 6 now on their Sejuani. Grig is looking around the mid lane though, and it's the 3-man collapse coming in here. They're gonna look for Damonte.
Monster's going in, pops the ulti for speed, goes in after him, Lifelong Disintegration Ray coming out. Echo Fox tries to counterattack this one. They've already lost their mid laner. Haunter trying to get away. The passive's gonna keep him alive. The resurrection comes through and the cast will provide the escape. Haunter still getting himself barely away for now. As the laser will not find its way onto the Echo Fox members, it's still 1-0 TSM.
And his haunts are so reminiscent of last game again, being able to get that revive with the ultimate, buying so much time. And in that time, TSM kills off a member, and then he escapes. And you know, critically there for Huni, his feast was not up when he TP'd in. He had to use that on a minion. He wanted to get that stacking, which is totally reasonable, but the fact that TSM get turret in the bottom lane while winning a skirmish mid lane means they are really falling pretty far behind here. And Damonte trying to fight back, knows he has the team coming, but stepping forward, Mini got knocked up, pulled back in with the chains, and then Haunter, that's a pretty big mistake, actually. The ulti was about to time out. Had they actually let that expire, they may have been able to kill him off. Instead, Echo Fox doesn't get the kill, loses a TP, loses turret bot, and they are very far behind.
And now the chains of corruption find their way on to Lost.
Oh,
Mithy and Grig have already made their way into the fight here as well. Mithy looking to go after him. The tongue is vicious and the arrow is even stronger. Sven grabs the kill, and TSM are 2-1 now.
It's pretty early on, but it's starting to already feel like the wheels are falling off here for Echo Fox. You know, really losing on all sides. This gold lead is almost 3K at 10 minutes. That is absurd for the team that gave up first blood to be that far ahead. Now they're going to go and just start up this dragon. Doesn't feel like there's too much chance of Echo Fox coming in and contesting this, as they have no wards in that area. They can't even see what's going on.
Echo Fox, you guys, you need to go down to the corner store. You got to get some bandages. You got to staunch this bleeding right now, because a couple errors early on, a 3,000 gold deficit. Yeah, that's bad news, but if this keeps snowballing, TSM will just run away with this game from here. Echo Fox, this is sort of one of the criticisms and also one of the compliments that we give them all the time, is they never stop fighting. And that can work both ways. It's a double-edged sword. And one thing we do always say about them is they're not a team that's ever just going to wait to lose, right? So they've got to find an opportunity to make one of these fights work. They've got to use some of this burst power between Damonte and Huni. But at this point, Azael, again, it's just not working out.
Yeah, it really isn't. And when you have side lane pressure, as TSM does, it becomes harder and harder, I feel like, to kind of find those fights. Because anytime you collapse, if Haunter has control on a side lane, you're losing something there. At the very least, you're losing minions or turret damage or experience. You're losing something, right? And that is kind of the difficult situation that they're going to find themselves in. And they don't have an Ornn for a guaranteed style of engage like they did last game. They do still have, you know, some forms of engage. Namely, it's going to be about Sejuani trying to really find an ultimate there, or, you know, scatter the weak or something from Damonte. But they are looking now for Sven. Mithy's behind him though, so there's not much chance anything happens.
Mithy knew he didn't even need to devour just yet. He walks back up. He's like, hey, Huni, Tom Kench here, what's going on? But he might just pay for that overconfidence here. Smoothie's going to be taken down, though. And the cast brings Huni back as well. He won't fall, but TSM says, don't you mess with my taunting Kench. You let him be him.
Oh my god, that is so tilting for Echo Fox. He's taunting you, and you're like, we're going to get him. 3v2, they get killed. Echo Fox losing again, another skirmish here. And now it's a 3v1, so Lost, you gotta leave, bud, and that means another turret is probably going down here.
Sven's just free-firing on this thing. Nobody's around to defend. You can't defend because you're outmanned, because you lost the last fight, because you're so far behind, because the entire game has favored your opponents so far. It looks like TSM has no intention of slowing this down anytime soon. If this turret does fall, that'll be about a 5,000 gold lead here for them. Instead, Echo Fox will, thankfully for them, be able to keep this one alive, keep that gold out of TSM pockets.
Yeah, pretty important for them to be able to do it. And, no real reason for TSM to try to fully commit to it and risk giving up kills. So instead, they go for the safer play, discretion being the better part of Valor here, as they'll just grab up the Rift Herald. So they can always return to that top lane, knock down that turret potentially, and now they have a Rift Herald to look to knock down the mid lane turret after that, or even a potential tier 2. So certainly things looking very good here for TSM in game number 2. As you can see, Huni massively behind in farm, farm and really in every single role. It's actually TSM ahead, plus they have the kills, plus they have the turrets.
And it's not just the fact that they're ahead in the farm, Azale, at least not from what I'm looking at, it's the fact that the leads keep growing.
Yeah.
When we looked earlier, it was 20s, it was 15s. Now you're looking at 35 in the top lane, at 27 in the jungle, at almost 30 between the 80 carries. And it's just, when does it stop? When does Echo Fox find the opportunity to keep themselves at an even point? Because when plays like this happen,
Oh my God.
I don't know.
It doesn't get much more tilting than that. I mean, that feels like, okay, he's taunting in our face. Does he really get to get away with that? Well, turns out he does. Turns out Smoothie's going to die off that one, and Huni lucky to get away with his life. Honestly, a great cast from Grig, and the early gray health from Mithy means that they can't have any real chance of bursting him down. Now Rift Herald used mid.
Oh, Grig with another good cast. Of course, the flash does mean that it ends up knocking his opponents away instead, but of course, throwing out the Gragas ulti in exchange for a flash, you'll take that every single time.
And look at this. All 5 members from Echo Fox have to come. Haunter's pushing in the bottom lane. They're pressuring a tier 2 in this 4v5. And they're taking
It will
kills!
disintegrate those life bars, completely deleting. It's a double kill for himself. 4 versus 5, it's still a win for TSM as Haunter continues to push here in the bottom side. It's another tier 2 in their sights, and Fox can do nothing but look on.
This one is getting ugly flowers as Bjergsen just deletes multiple members in the mid lane. Not only will they get 2 turrets in the mid lane in a 4v5 push, they get the bottom lane turret as well. They're now almost 8,000 gold ahead in 15 minutes.
This is just not a situation that any team ever wants to find themselves in. But TSM's end of season buff is coming in pretty real right now. Acer Predator replay, let's break it down.
Yeah, here it is one more time. Huni's going back towards the bottom lane, but Darnock just kind of stepped up, and he's gonna get CC'd up. Smoothie tries to jump in and save him, but there's no saving him from that. They both go down, losing 2 more turrets off the play.
And when you look at the inventories of the 2 people who died on the side of Echo Fox, because that is 2 of the meatballs that we were talking about, that should be this big front line for Echo Fox. HP item, no magic mantle. HP item, shoes. Sven in some trouble. Mithy gobbles him up. Devour once again, gonna be on point. Protecting that 80 carry. And now the collapse will begin. TSM looking to turn this one right back around. Lost could be in some trouble, gets knocked up into the air, and Haunter takes him out. A nice cast, finds 3. Smoothie's already out of there, and it's a double kill for Haunter. There comes the damage, and Demonte is gone. A killing spree for Sven. Greg picks up the mid laner, and Huni stands alone.
You'd say they'd go to Baron, but it's 16 minutes! The Baron's not even on the map! And TSM are just wiping him. Huni trying to get something back. No Tom Kench here this time.
Huni wants to take a big old bite out of his Sven burger, but I don't know if it's going to work out
The
today.
lifesteal!
Sven's trying to outplay, steps into the range of the rupture, keeps himself alive for now. Huni's still walking out of this one, but he's got buddies. Oh, Huni, this is not a story that ends well for you, my friend. He stands still and accepts
He's
the sweet
dancing.
embrace of death as Bjergsen again shows you why you never skip your algebra homework. The math lasers are so on point.
I know, man. And he's got the Glacial Augment build here on Vel'Koz. This is what he did last time as well. Spooky Ghost, plus he's got the Super Soaker that is insane. Echo Fox looking for the engagement. Tom Kench is there. They're not showing respect to the support denial pick. Haunter TB's in. He's clearing out the minion wave and then lost. Grig gets the engage onto him, and he flashes away right into the waiting arms of Haunter. TSM are getting absolutely decimated, and honestly, for Echo Fox, I think it's time to start thinking about game number 3. They are facing a situation where they need a reverse sweep very likely here coming into this game.
Very likely, almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's a 10,000 gold lead at 17 minutes into the game, and Grig has just been the life of the party with these kegs. The man is throwing them left, right, and center, making sure he's always splitting people up, knocking the Echo Fox members right back into TSM. Gragas Ultimate is one of those abilities that's very similar to Bard's Kit, where you can completely mess up everything if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
And he has just been doing it right time and again. I gotta give this guy props.
Yeah, you really do. And he has 100% kill participation. TSM now using that Tahm Kench ultimate to rotate up to the top side and pressure this. And it's going to be hard for Echo Fox to engage into the Tahm Kench. You can see Bjergsen shooting out those Vel'Koz lasers. And look at that Glacial Augment slow.
They try to go in, but Echo Fox has already lost their front line instantly. As soon as you engage, you are dead. Sven goes on a rampage. They'll find
Here's
one kill
Haunter.
onto Grig, but now TSM has found everyone. It's Haunter on a killing spree. It's Mithy that makes sure they've got the slow. It's Sven that gets the ace, and it's TSM pushing down top.
18 minutes in, 15-3. A monumental gold lead here. They are going to be able to knock down yet another turret, extending this lead. And the respawns are so fast this early on that they can't go for more, but they can head back to base and spend up the ridiculous amount of gold that they have. The item advantages are just insane across the board here. You can see the completions coming in. And watch this one more time. Look at the Glacial Augment slow that's actually procced here. Look at that. They can't even move. They're trying to walk it like so slow. They all get knocked down there by Bjergsen to about 5%, and then Grig is able to finish them off with a cast. I mean, Echo Fox know they have got to try something special here to get back into this game, but it's too little too late. They're so far behind. It feels almost unwinnable. You would need such comedy of errors from TSM to really get anything done.
You can be as scrappy and as cavalier as you want, but when you're up against that much damage and you've got a Cinder Hulk and a shoe, you are not gonna live.
Yeah.
Ever. Never, ever, ever.
It's sad times being a tank against that. 0 and 4.
Sad times for Sejuani, good
Yeah.
times for anybody who likes a nice plate of ham. Because that is not a Sejuani that's going to be alive for very long anytime soon. Haunter finding himself in between two members, exactly where he wants to be with how strong he and his team are right now. Hooney's going to be taken low and taken down, can't get anywhere near the pin. Smoothie now trying to buy some time. Glacial Fissure knocks up a couple, still going to be taken low, almost taken down. Haunter needs one more auto, not even going to care about it just yet. Deciding instead to turn his attention over to Lost. One more auto attack will seal his fate as Mithy grabs the kill onto Smoothie over the wall. Haunter is unstoppable, and TSM has no reason to stop. Dardoch and Demonte still standing, but what is it even good for?
Yeah, this one's getting a little bit tough to watch as TSM are just absolutely destroying. This is, I would say, the most one-sided game I think I've seen this whole year in the LCS, it feels like. I mean, maybe there are some more...
It's up there if it's not.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there are some more one-sided by the gold, but it feels especially shocking to see this in the semifinals of the Gauntlet 4 Worlds Decimation. Yeah. Just a couple weeks after seeing a 3-2, such a tightly contested series from Echo Fox, and that was with Hooney being sick, but you can see TSM has felt like they are improving, and it's been really impressive to see, you know, some of that transformation from them. And you can credit a little bit to that the immense amount of games that they have actually played. I mean, they played
so many games.
18 games in the regular season. Yes, there are tiebreakers on top of that. They played 15 games before this, just in the playoffs, because all of their games went 5 games. They have basically played an extra season worth of games in the playoffs.
Yep, they won 3-2 against Echo Fox in the quarterfinals, lost 2-3 against Cloud9 in the semifinals, won 3-2 against 100 Thieves in the third place match. They have played so much League of Legends that they have got to be good at League of Legends by now, as Sven grabs a lot of damage down onto that enemy front line. Smoothie is already out of there. Haunter comes over the wall, wings expanded, ready to make sure this is the final push, and TSM will take down inhibitor number 1. They're not wasting any time. They're on to the Nexus turrets. They want to seal the deal real quick. Bjergsen's unstoppable. Dardoch's just going to be buying a little bit more time. A couple seconds is all he'll get. Second Nexus turret goes down. And if we said they were dominating in game number 1, game number 2 is absolute control over Summoner's Rift, as TSM will take it to match point.
All TSM all the time in game number 2. One of the most one-sided League of Legends affairs you will see. That was a slamming, and now Echo Fox are down 0-2 in the series. You have to win 3 straight games.
Not impossible.
Not impossible, but oh my God, after a game like that, you have got to be mentally destroyed.
Your mental has to be just some sort of special mode right now to reset.
Yeah.
Get yourself back to a spot where those last 2 games, those didn't happen. All you're doing is playing a best of 3 where you got to win all 3 games. That's where Echo Fox is at right now, because that last game, I said going into it, for Fox, I wanted to see them fix the issues from last game. For TSM, I wanted to see them keep the momentum going. That was like saying, yeah, man, you're driving 60 miles per hour. Everything's great. Just keep that speed up. We'll cruise down the highway. And all of a sudden, you're going 150, and everything's just crazy. You can't even see the trees anymore. These guys ran away with it.
They really did. I mean, really the only major blemish for TSM was Grig kind of giving away a free first blood early on. But besides that, TSM has full jungle control. They counter jungle Dardoch on all the sides of the map. They're moving around. They're getting dragons. They're winning all their lanes across the map. They're dominating team fights. Like, this was just absolutely a slaughter.
I'm running out of fingers.
It was not even close.
Count all the stuff that went TSM's way because they controlled that game from start to finish. They're on match point, and to hear how they got one step closer to securing that world spot, let's send it back over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Things are looking good for TSM, sitting at 2-0. For Echo Fox, things have gone from bad to worse.
Whatever, dude.
Extraordinarily tough loss to suffer here in Game 2.
I just got off the phone with Riot. They said Echo Fox got banned for inting, so we're not even gonna have a game.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Your finger phone.
Help me make sense of this game, guys, because it was a relatively competitive Game 1. We move into Game 2, and things just go off the rails so quickly for this Echo Fox squad. And then the kill, it seems at a certain point, it breaks. And we heard the casters talking about mental fortitude.
I think
this is the back break.
This play, I think, was really important because in the first blood they got before this, you actually saw Demonte waste his flash to take the kill because there was no way Grig was getting out of that. He was completely dead, but Demonte still flashed in on him. And when I saw that, I thought to myself, flash on Cinder is a pretty big deal. Like, he's going to need to play pretty safe.
Was the breaking point. He actually successfully taunted a team in a professional League of Legends match to chase them into the turret. Like, they're so tilted after this.
Yeah, but that's the tilt manifesting itself. But I think the seed was planted in that mid play because
here it is, the replay.
He didn't even.
I think the rupture missed.
I like Cooney goes from the mix-up too. He's like, I'm not gonna do it on the guy who's laugh spamming because he's ready to leave from the laugh spam. You know,
He's gonna get eaten, right?
Right. So he's doing it on the right guy. Either way, I think the mid play when they lost a 5v3 and lost their bot lane turret was when they were kind of like, all right, we're done. And then
that was pretty huge because Demonte had his bot lane collapsing, but if you watched, he actually didn't heal away from Aatrox and he walked back into him to give him range, which was pretty big mistake.
I mean, it largely feels past 10 to 15 minutes in this game that a lot of this isn't necessarily worth watching from an analytical standpoint, right? This replay here, just, you know, members of Echo Fox.
I can say
I can break down all those 1v1s.
If this is a scrim, after this, your coach says, we're not going to review this game. Do better next time.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll say a game like this can kind of reset you mentally. Like, tilt can be a bit circular. Sometimes you go full 360 and you're okay again. Like, you have a game like this, you're like, all right, we got it out of our system. We just, like, got all the deaths out the way.
Right.
Now we can start killing people again.
Whether
that's going to be the case or not, I'm not sure. It's pretty hard to do on the stage, but that can happen, and I hope Echo Fox bounces back a bit.
It's better to say that than to say, all right, let's play one more game and our season is over. Like,
right.
It's positive spin is definitely necessary.
We just got to get to 20 minutes, guys. 20 more minutes of this and we're home.
Needing to put 3 back-to-back-to-back wins here for Echo Fox. On the side of TSM, let's talk about Sven here because before 10 minutes, even quite a lead built in that bottom lane. And we typically talk about Sven Mithi as being very passive and just, hey, don't get behind. This time around, generating quite a lead themselves.
Yeah, I mean, they took the Varus pick for themselves, something they don't seem to usually super highly prioritize, but they crushed lane. They were pushing up and getting turret damage in at like 6-7 minutes. And then when that play broke out in the mid lane, they actually exploded to a monstrous lead, which is something you don't often see. And I think that's one of the points we were saying, like, all right, top's a little close, but if their bot or mid starts taking over the game for TSM, this series is going to go in their favor pretty quickly, and that's kind of what happened.
Oh, yeah, that mid play was so huge, in my opinion, just because, like, they're going to lose the bot lane turret no matter what because they fully rotated mid. But if you have a 5v3, you hope you win that fight or at least get something out of it. But all they got was a death and nothing else. They just lost their
And in the meantime, a 1.1K gold lead is generated in the bot lane for an 80 carry pre-10 minutes. Again, just the scale of that lead is pretty massive. And then it kind of is no surprise from a power sense that TSM had the items and the tools to win team fights from that point onward.
Oh my God, the Glacial Augment Vel'Koz, when teams slowly funnel through small corridors towards you, looks even more effective.
That looks really strong.
It looked really strong.
Let's talk about that because we've seen this pick a couple times out of Bjergsen, the Vel'Koz, and it has had these items accompanying it. But I don't think many people are necessarily aware of where the synergies are and why it works on this champion as opposed to any other mid laners that we see in the meta.
Yeah, well, specifically Glacial Augment leaves the slow trail when added with other active items, but Vel'Koz is somewhat unique in the fact that he can neutralize the laning phase very easily, so it doesn't matter if he doesn't have Electrocute. And then the fact that he can get slows either from his auto attack, which is rare, it's more about the items, to set up his kill combos is what empowers that pick. We were actually going to go look through a bunch of other mid laners of like, you could probably do this on some other champions. Meteos mentioned Talia maybe. I think we'll probably see more of it, but we're at the beginnings of that exploration.
Right. I think, talk about high base damages in the kit as well as with that E setup, it goes over minions. So like, I was thinking about Brand a little bit, but if you're just tagging people and then creeps get in the way, you'll never get the Q follow-up or anything if you're landing an EQ or W or anything.
I have to assume with Vel'Koz, like, he has a very fast attack animation, which is good. And then when you slow him with Glacial Augment, you probably have a really good chance of hitting the E if they don't have any sort of mobility.
Right.
So that's actually a really powerful ability. So you have to respect his autos because, if you get autoed, you're going to get E'd right after.
Yeah, and as we're going towards what could be the final game of Echo Fox's year, like, just please not like this. Just please find a way to reset in some way, tilt 360, get back onto it. They're not looking good right now at all, but they played TSM super tough the first time they played them. They played the first 20 minutes of game one super well.
We know this team's capable.
We know they're capable, but they look completely broken right now. And if there's any way they can reset, knowing that this is potentially the last game they'll play as a team.
TSM on blue side. Typically, when a team's in this situation, we look to them and say, pick comfort. Pick, what you're good at and you can perform on in any situation, regardless of counters and whatnot. So for Echo Fox, what is comfort? Like, if I asked you to put together the five champ comfort comp for Echo Fox, what would it be?
I think what I would like to see Echo Fox try here is just putting Huni on a carry and playing around top. So far this series, they've done 2 tank games, and Huni didn't underperform necessarily, but it didn't feel like he was really making much happen, mostly because the champions he was being put on. So I think that playing through top, playing a top lane carry is something that Echo Fox is very good at, and TSM might not be that good at responding to. So I think that's probably their best bet.
All right, flip the script, put Huni on a carry. We'll see if that works for Echo Fox or even if they take our advice. TSM are 1 game away from taking the series. We'll see if Echo Fox can bounce back when we return. Don't touch that browser.